What's going on, everybody? We've got a really strong knockout slate here, and this is the stage where identity starts to matter more than reputation. At this point in the tournament, the teams that keep control, stay organized, and handle pressure usually give themselves the best chance to keep moving forward. That makes today's games fascinating because each one has a very different feel, even if the market is already leaning heavily one way in a few spots. So let's break it down game by game and stay locked in on the team results, the trends, and the structure of the matchups. First up, Spain against Austria. Spain come into this one with a massive statistical case. They top their group, they're unbeaten in 32 straight matches, and they haven't conceded at all in this tournament. That is a serious level of control, and it's exactly why they continue to be one of the toughest teams to play against. They do not just win games, they dictate them. Austria had a much more fragile path through the group stage. They scraped through after a very late equalizer in a 3-3 match against Algeria, which tells you they are still capable of staying alive in difficult situations. But against a team with Spain's control and balance, that kind of survival football is a much bigger ask. What stands out here is how Spain manage games. They hold the ball, they limit chances, and they make opponents work without giving away much. Even though the defense looks excellent on paper, the bigger story is that their control is what creates that defensive security. Austria may make this awkward for stretches, but they are still the side that has to prove they can deal with sustained pressure. For me, the strongest angles are Spain to win, both teams to score, and Spain's opponents to receive more cards. Austria should have to defend for long stretches, and that often leads to frustration and bookings. Spain's run of clean sheets is impressive, but if there is a first concession, this is the kind of game where it could happen. My score prediction is 3-1 Spain. Next up, Portugal against Croatia. This is a really interesting matchup because both teams bring pedigree and experience into the knockout stage. Portugal have been steady through the group, with 2 draws and a win, and they have still shown the kind of offensive volume that makes them dangerous. They are creating plenty of shots and plenty of pressure, which is a good sign heading into a game like this. Croatia have not been spectacular, but they've done what they needed to do. 2 wins out of 3 is a strong platform, and they have scored in every game so far. That matters because it tells you they can still create enough to stay involved, even when the overall performance level is not always overwhelming. The historical angle here is the biggest one. Portugal and Croatia have never met at a World Cup before, which adds a little extra intrigue to a matchup that already feels tight. Both teams also come in with a lot of international experience, so this is the kind of game where small margins and late moments matter more than anything else. Portugal's shot volume and possession numbers point to a team that is trying to control the rhythm of games, while Croatia's recent scoring record suggests they are not going away quietly. That makes over 1.5 goals and both teams to score very live options. I also like Portugal over 1.5 offsides, because that has been a recurring pattern in this competition. My score prediction is 2-1 Portugal. Now to Switzerland against Algeria. Switzerland come into this one unbeaten from the group and with a very solid overall record. They scored in every game, they kept things balanced, and they look like a team that knows how to manage different phases of a match. That kind of consistency is exactly what you want going into the first knockout round. Algeria have been resilient, but they've also shown signs that they can be vulnerable defensively. They conceded in all 3 of their group games, and in 2 of them they allowed multiple goals. That is a major concern when you're heading into a knockout match against a team as balanced as Switzerland. The key here is that Switzerland do not need much to stay in control. They've shown they can score in every game, and if they keep that run going, Algeria will need a very strong attacking response just to keep pace. That feels like a tall order given the defensive profile Algeria have shown so far. This is why I like Switzerland to win and Switzerland to qualify. If you want to reduce risk, that's the safer route, but I think the straight win has enough value too. I also like the idea of a Switzerland shot on target prop based on the confidence and consistency they've shown in the group. My score prediction is 2-0 Switzerland. What stands out across these games is that the teams with the clearest identity are still the ones you can trust the most. Spain are the clearest control team on the board, Portugal bring a huge amount of attacking pressure and constant shot volume, and Switzerland look like a side that knows exactly how to handle a knockout match from start to finish. Austria, Croatia, and Algeria all have enough quality to stay in the fight, but they are the teams that have to change the rhythm and force the game into a different type of contest if they want to upset the favorites. That is what makes knockout football so compelling. In the group stage, teams can survive with grit, timing, and a few important moments, but once the margin for error gets smaller, structure matters more and the more reliable teams usually rise to the top. Spain are the clearest example of that because of how much control they bring to every game, but Portugal and Switzerland fit that same pattern too. They may not always dominate every phase, but they know how to manage the moment, stay balanced, and put themselves in position to advance. The strongest theme today is that the teams with the better control and the cleaner tournament profile are the ones that stand out most. Spain have been elite in terms of control and defensive stability. Portugal have been active and dangerous in attack, and Switzerland have shown the kind of balance that travels well into knockout football. When a team can manage tempo, limit mistakes, and stay composed when the pressure rises, that usually gives them the best chance to keep moving forward. The underdogs can absolutely make things uncomfortable, but in this kind of stage, the stronger structure usually ends up making the difference. What really separates these teams is not just form, but the way they shape the game. Spain can take the oxygen out of a match by controlling possession and keeping opponents from settling in. Portugal can stretch a defense with volume and pressure until something eventually opens up. Switzerland bring a steadiness that makes them difficult to shake, which is exactly what matters when the stakes rise and every moment carries more weight. That is why these sides stand out more than the ones relying on chaos, urgency, or one big moment to survive. In knockout football, that edge matters even more because there is no time to recover from a poor spell. A team can survive the group stage with grit, timing, and a few important moments, but once the matches get tighter, the cleaner and more reliable teams usually rise to the top. Spain are the clearest example of that, but Portugal and Switzerland fit the same general pattern. They may not win every game in the same way, but they know how to stay in control of their own path, and that is often what decides these tournaments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's betting these games tonight. It really helps the channel grow, and it makes a huge difference in helping me keep these daily picks and breakdowns coming for you. I appreciate every bit of support, and it means a lot to keep building this with you all. I'll be back with more picks, more breakdowns, and more value in the next one, so make sure you stay tuned. Catch you in the next video.